A hurricane coming towards Southern California? Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about Southern California, but we don't get hurricanes over here. We get wildfires and earthquakes.
You're watching the Bear Pantry Show.
They said the last time a hurricane hit Southern California, or California on a whole, was in 1939. That's 84 years ago. I didn't even know that had happened. So anyways, Joe got up on the roof right away because there's a section of our roof over the garage that's been leaking. And after the winter was over, he said he was going to fix all this stuff in the summer. But because he had a lot of sinus related issues this summer, he didn't get up on the roof to get it done. So now he has to fix any loose shingles or any ones that are skinned back because of the Santa Ana winds that we get. So we were prepared pretty much because we had just bought groceries a couple of days before. So all we needed to get was some water. So we had 3 5-gallon bottle of water. So he went to the water store and he bought 2 more 5-gallon bottles. And so we were set with 25 gallons of water. So now, my cousin Effie and her husband Robbie had planned to come up to visit me on the 19th, and we had had plans to go to Grandma Dorothy's celebration of life. She passed away in May. She's a big YouTuber that does cooking. She's a friend of mine. Well, she was, because she passed away, and they were having her celebration of life, but they canceled it because of the storm that was coming through, because it started off in Mexico, moved its way up north towards us, came through Baja California. We know enough about hurricanes because we're from Belize that we knew that it was going to hit us as a tropical storm. And people think, oh, it's just going to be a storm, like a superstorm. No, a tropical storm is still very serious. So we made sure that we were prepared. We didn't have to like put plywood on our doors and stuff like that because we knew the winds were not going to be ferocious. We get higher Santa Ana winds here on the regular. So we know we have a Wayne Dalton hurricane reinforced garage door. So we haven't had any trouble in about 27, 28 years over here. But we knew that we were going to get a lot of water. So we cleaned up the patio. We took in, see I'm on these chairs, we took in the good padded chairs. The day of the hurricane, this is the day after the hurricane, by the way. The day of the hurricane, Joe came out here and dug up some trenches away, like around the edge of the patio, because we didn't want water to come on the patio, because then we ran the risk that it would come up into the house, because our house is kind of flat on the ground. We don't have any steps that you can climb up, right? So I think we did a really good job preparing for the hurricane and working through the hurricane to make sure that we didn't take on any water. Neighboring cities didn't do so well, like the city of Colton, that's pretty close to us. It's about 4 or 5 miles away from here. They had a lot of evacuation. The people had to go stay at the high school for a hurricane shelter. These people have never had to do this, so I know that this was weird for them, right? In Belize, we had to do this all the time. So anyways, let's go back to my cousin Effie and Robbie coming. So I cooked that day. When I saw that Grandma Dorothy's stuff was canceled, I cooked. I wanted picadillo. Now, picadillo is this thing that's kind of like our Belizean black dinner or chimole. And you're supposed to use ground pork. But I've never used ground pork when I've made a recipe. You can look down below and I'll put a link to one of the other videos if you just want to see the tutorial and don't want to listen to this long video, right? So this time I use ground beef all the time, but we're not doing beef right now because they say beef causes a lot of mucus in the body, and we're trying to get Joe off of that so he can get better with his sinuses. So this time I decided to use ground turkey. It tasted a little bit different than using the ground beef, but it wasn't bad. So when you're done putting your onions and all your spices and you cook the meat, if it's ground pork, ground beef, or ground turkey, at some point you mix some of the black ricotta in some water, and I put it through a strainer all the time because I don't want that stuff to get into my dinner and be like mud, right? And then when it's reduced, you add some hard-boiled eggs and you reduce it even more so that you could put it on corn tortilla and eat it like a taco. So I wanted that, but I wasn't sure that Effie and Robbie knew what that dish was, because I got that dish from one of my aunts and I don't know where she got it from. So I decided to make salbutes, and I will put a link to that video in the description so you guys can go find out how to make the salbutes. So that went over really, really well with Effie and Robbie. They enjoyed it thoroughly, and they took some of the picadillo home because they had eaten too much of the salbutes to eat the picadillo, but Effie really wanted to taste that. So then I was going to make a small 6x2 or 7x3. I have a pan that's 7x3 to make a lemon cake. And because my 2 favorite cakes of all, for my birthday is carrot cake, which I made for the birthday and took to the beach, and then the lemon cake. So I said, okay, I'm gonna make a small one and I can get to enjoy some of that too and call it my birthday cake still. So I messed up that cake so royally. I did everything right until, okay, so first of all, that cake uses butter and shortening. So I put the butter, shortening, and sugar, and I creamed it. And then I add the eggs. It's 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs plus 1 egg yolk, because I'm halving my full recipe that I have. And so then when I went to go put the lemon extract, the thing said 1.5 teaspoons. Tell me why I put 1.5 tablespoons. And I didn't taste it till after I already mixed up, I mixed the dry, put the flour in with the baking powder, put the milk, everything. And then I poured it into the little pan, and then I tasted it because some of the batter got on my finger. When I tasted it, child, it was so tart with that lemon extract. I couldn't deal with it. So I said, how am I going to fix this? I can't throw all this batter away. Because, things are expensive. Eggs are expensive. Sugar is expensive. Everything expensive. So I decided to make another batter just like that. Another small batch batter from my small batch book, shameless plug. Hey guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Barbara and my mission in life is to teach you guys how to cook. Why? Because I feel like if you know how to cook, you can change your wealth and you can change your health. Your wealth because you won't have to spend big money buying, food that's already made on the street because, they charge you for their labor for making the food, right? And your health because you get to decide what goes inside your dish. See how I changed that first dish from pork to beef to now turkey? I get to do that. I don't have to go to a Belizean restaurant and have them make what they want to make for me, right? So also my other mission in life right now is to show you what goes on behind the scenes of the making of a cooking show here on YouTube. Do you guys like that part? I like showing you, I like pulling back the curtains and showing you guys behind the scenes. So anyways, where was I in this conversation? I made another batter and I scraped that one out of the pan. Let me put my glasses on for a little bit because it's getting bright. And I mixed it together so it became one big batter. So I got 3 layers, 3 9x2 layers. And I made the frosting. Well, now the frosting's not really a frosting, it's a glaze. And it uses butter softened, real lemon juice, not the lemon extract this time, and powdered sugar. So I just doubled up on whatever I was going to do for the little one. And I made it thick and I put some in between for the layers. And then I put some more lemon juice in it to thinning it out because I had put less lemon juice first, and then I put it on top and it's supposed to like leak down on the cake, but this got really foamy because I had it so thick before that it fell on the plate. So I just kind of scraped it up and put it around the cake, and it was the best thing that happened to that cake because the glaze, I want to say frosting, the glaze got kind of hard and it kind of reminded us of our Belizean royal icing. Then I made a cold cake, and I think I'm going to do a separate video for that cold cake to just put a tutorial out here on it. But it's the one that uses the Maria biscuits or the Maria cookies. We call it Marie biscuits in Belize. And gelatin, media crema, and I put some condensed milk in this one, and some fruit cocktail. Pretty simple, and it's one of those refrigerator cakes. So I did all that. Effie and Robbie and them came. We went live at my little known channel, Babs Bear Talk. We played music for an hour and we danced. We had fun though. We called it the Storm Watch Party. And then they went home and got home safely in LA. And then by the next day, which was Sunday, the storm was coming through, but it was making I said it was going slow. Until I talked to my friend Mark yesterday, and he said, girl, that's moving fast at 23 miles an hour. You guys are going to be lucky. It's going to blow through you and not sit on top of you and hunker down, right? So we waited all day. So my daughter Jada and I were having like a little fight because she wanted to go to work. She works on Sundays at a drag show, and she's the one that manages the acts, right? She puts them on and collects the money, And she says, they need me, I have to go. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're not going out there because when you're coming home is when all the rain's gonna be coming, and these people drive like idiots on the regular. So can you imagine? They had a lot of multi-car pileups yesterday. They had cars swept away in bodies of water. They tell you, they have a slogan, don't drown, turn around. So if you see a body of water, turn the hell around, because you know what? It might be so deep that you're going to be submerged in it, or you're going to be swept away somewhere. So a neighboring city that's about 4 or 5 miles away from me, they took a hard hit. I think they're closer to the mountains and stuff. that they had a bunch of flash floods come down on them. They had to evacuate. It was scary. We were right in the middle of our town, Fontana, and so we're not too close to the hills on either end. And so I knew we were going to be okay if we could keep the water from coming up on the patio. All right. So Joe dug trenches yesterday, while the rain had eased up and stuff. And the water just kind of abated and came back this here way. Now you're going to see a lot of shrubbery grow up now because of all this rain. They said we got like a year's worth of rain in one day. My God. So then if that wasn't bad enough to add insult to injury, we had an earthquake. Right? An earthquake. California is known for wildfires and earthquakes. We had an earthquake in Baja California, which is about 2 hours drive away from me. I didn't feel it, praise God. But again, we got the alert through the Ring doorbell and through, the system that they use to alert us. In my town, in the past 24 hours, we have had 4 little mini earthquakes. 2.9 little mini, right? Like if it's not small enough, 2.9 to 3.2. I didn't feel none of those either. And I always say God protects me because I don't want to feel none of those because it's going to rattle my nerves. All right. So, it's been quite a few days. It started on Wednesday. I don't know what date that was because Saturday was the 19th, Friday 18th, Thursday 17th, the 16th, Wednesday the 16th. Oh, I should have known. My birthday was Monday the 14th. I should have just added 2 days, right? Wednesday the 16th, all this stuff started, and we've been working hard trying to put out shows and edit and everything while trying to prepare for Tropical Storm Hilary, because that's what it hit us as. We're still going to call it hurricane in the title probably, for clicks and views and all that good stuff. So I wanted to tell you guys something too. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but my degree is in radio broadcasting and I have a certificate in television broadcasting. So as I was looking for music to play for when my cousin Effie and Robbie were coming, I found an old cassette tape. I couldn't even get it to play really. Honestly, it's been so old. I think that thing is from 1988. And I put it in my little machine and I got a little segment for you guys. Listen to me announcing.
Hank Williams Jr., Bocephus, and Ain't Misbehaving on KLCC AM 53. I'm Barbara McNabb, and the degree outside is about 76. It's going to get up to the high 80s today, and in the valley it's going to be like 94. The time now is 9:05, and we're going to go right back into some more country music with a pretty boy of country music, John Schneider, doing What Did You Do About Me?
So I did a country and western show at the college that I went to, LACC. Shout out to LACC. And I was the only one with a country and western show. I had a lot of country records because Joe's into country music. I was into country music. And I did a show, and you kind of have to talk in between the songs. And that was the hardest thing for me to do. It felt kind of weird. And so I used to love John Schneider. I don't like him no more. But I used to love John Schneider, and I would play him a lot, and Hank Williams Jr., and Charlie Pride and George Jones and Conway Twitty and Dolly Parton and the Judds, and oh my God, I had a good assortment, and my teacher used to love the show even though he hated country music. I had 2 radio teachers. Mr. Staley used to come in the hallway and listen to when I played Willie Nelson and I think it's Ray Charles. I think it's Willie Nelson and Seven Spanish Angels. Yeah, I think it's them too. And he used to love that song, and he would just come and listen, and then he would go back in his office, and then he would write up a report on me. And it wasn't always nice. He used to tell me that I used to say about, like the Boston people, because I'm from Belize, right? So we have that British background. And I used to say Chicago, like, and he says it's Chicago. But I still hear American people say Chicago. So I don't know what he's talking about. And there were other things that I would say on other places in America that I would say wrong, that he would say, that's wrong, that's not the way you say. Oh, a mosquito. Oh, no, because of all that water, I guess. They hatch pretty quick. Don't they hatch like 2 weeks later? Must have been hatching before. So anyways, it's been an exciting few days. The hurricane is passing through. I think it's done. I think maybe we might get a slight shower later or something, but the bad parts are done. And now the cleanup has to start. And I'm going to go in there now and watch the news to see what all had happened, because Joe's the one that told me everything that he saw on the news. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this little behind the scenes of what's been going on and all the food that I made for when my cousin came. And the next video that you're gonna see is probably gonna be one where I show you all the free birthday stuff that I got for my birthday. all right? Then I still have to make one to show you all the gifts that I got from my husband, my children, and the viewers that love me and family members that love me, all right? So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Bye! As I was outside doing this narration, look at this batch of bugs that just swarmed the backyard. See? One's trying to come for me. I don't know what they were. Joe thinks that they're baby moths, but they died the minute they hit the water in the pool that we have for the dogs. This is the